Hi all, Andy here and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm back in the Mk7 Fiesta as I am doing a swap of the seats from these very basic cloth seats for the ST interior that came in the Mk7.5 or the facelift model. Now in order to do this I need a couple of tools, and they are a T50 Torx bit and a T55 Torx bit. So on the tool front, not too many to worry about, but they are quite specialist, so you probably need to buy those parts for this job if you have only got a very basic toolbox at home. You must also remember, because we're removing the seats and there are airbags involved, you should for safety disconnect the battery. However, to start the process off, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to work on the back seats first. There's no airbags in there, so I'm pretty safe to work. All I need is that T50 and T55 Torx bits to get those seats out. In fact, before we do so, let's take a look at the interior we're swapping it for, and also let's have a closer look at this interior I'm swapping out. The ST180 leather seats I'm installing are the light grey and dark grey versions, although they also come in a red and black variant too. This came in the Mk7.5 version of the Fiesta, so it will make a big difference to the comfort and looks of the Mk7 we are installing them into. The new seats are heated, but this would need a new loom adding to make them work in the Mk7, so I'm leaving that function out for now. I will also be modifying the electrical multi-plug connection too, as it is different on the older and the newer seats. If you simply want to watch the pin out and alterations I am making to the multi-plug to work first time and without the airbag warning light coming on, you can forward this video to the time indicated on the video now. Let's take a quick look at the seats we're taking out. So these cloth seats that we have in the very basic model, they don't have much of a support on the side. There's no lumbar protection. The headrests are quite basic. Also, there's this checked pattern. Not an awful lot of side padding to keep your legs in place either. On the back, as you can see, it's the same pattern once again. And the seats that's going to be replacing this look fantastic compared to these cloth ones. So to give me the best access to the rear of the car, I've put the front seats, all the way forward, and I've tilted them forwards also, so now we can get to the back seat. So the first thing I'm going to get is the bench seat out. And this does just lift up. Now the back seat has these hooks just here that should fit into these white brackets that you can probably see. And they should be slotted in, and then the back seat just flicks down. Once you have removed the front hooks, you simply push the bench seat backwards to release it from the 4 hooking locations here at the rear of the seat. And it just folds out like that, so you can see it hooks here and here into a bracket on the back of the seat, which if I just hold that up, you can see it hooks in here. It also hooks in that corner, and if we look in this corner, there's also another hook here also. Now working from the back of the car, I'm going to fold the seats flat, which will give me access to the brackets that hold the back of the seat in place. But what I'm going to do first off is, and the way I've found it easiest to remove this seat, is to actually remove this bracket in the middle first. And this is a T50 Torx bit right here. There are 2 of these bolts. One you can access from the rear of the car with the seat folded flat, and the other one we're going to put the seat back up to remove the front bolt. I'm going to fold the seat down somewhat so I can get the ratchet on, like so. Loosen that bolt off like this. So you need the seat at about a 45-degree angle to get your ratchet under it so you can back it off. Just to give you an idea of the angle I'm working at. So that's the middle bracket completely undone. Now working on one side of the car, you can see here is the bracket in question that's holding one side of the seat. And what I need to do, I need to roll this mechanism forward with a flathead screwdriver. So just push it forward like that, so you can get it up. Keep pushing, and you'll notice the seat wants to come out, and the seat will want to lift out like that. So that's out one side and the bracket. So we'll turn our attention to the other side of the seat now. Same principle on this mechanism. We push it forward with a flathead screwdriver, and then lift it continuously, and the seat will pop out. So both sides are disconnected. The bracket's also off, so this should just now, he says, just come apart like that. But there's still one more part of the puzzle, and that is this middle seat belt buckle. And you must remove this, because I did wonder why the seats I'd purchased came with a seat belt buckle, and that's because it's actually attached to that rear seat. So that needs to come out as well. And this bolt is a T55 Torx bolt. That's one piece out. Piece number 2 out. And here we have the new seat ready to go in. And this is the seat, the large part of the seat that's behind the passenger side, that's got the seat belt buckle. So the first thing we need to do is get that seat belt buckle in the right place. So we must push the washer back in that was there before. Could have given this a little bit of a clean really, but I'm not going to worry too much. It's not my car. I'll ratchet that right down to get this bracket back in place here that assembles the two sides. If you look at this bracket, you've got this hook that would point upwards, and the bolt holes face the large sides of the seat. Slides off like that. So we'll slide this over the bar for the new seat in that position. So we'll slide that over like so. So that is the way it would be screwed into the floor, like that. I'm going to go and get the other part of the seat though, to be ready to put into place. So we need to slot the small part of the rear seat onto this bar so it becomes one. There we go. This is now lined up with these holes, but the seat belt is the wrong side of that, so we need to lift that out, put the seat belt the right side of that before we lock it down, and then just push down on that, and that locks that into place, firmly into place. And we'll do the same on the other side before we screw the bracket back in the middle, even though it seems to be an opposite bit of logic. So again, the seat belt is the right side of the mechanism. We'll lift that up, we get it lined up, we push down, and it will snap bang into place, just like that, which you will remember we did on the removal. So we'll line those up, which is that still the T50 Torx bit. Going to pull the seat belt through, lock that into place as well. I'm going to pull this one through and lock that into place, and that is the back seats in position. So we need to make sure the bolster is hooked in here, this big one here at the back, and in that corner. So you push it back and feel it engage, and then the seat should just click into position. So starting with the passenger seat, there appears to be 4 T50 Torx bolts holding the seat in place. Now I have disconnected the battery from the car, so the airbags are now neutralised and they're not going to go off. So I just need to undo these 4 bolts. We'll get this seat out of the car, and then we'll compare the plug, or the electrical plug on the bottom of the seat, to the seat on the Mark 7.5 that we're putting in this car, and see what we need to do to modify it to make it fit. Start off with the 2 easily accessible Torx bolts at the front of the seat on either side. Now you can see the bolts are hidden within the runners on both sides, so they are recessed, so it's good to have a longer socket on this. So this seat is completely disconnected, so I can now lift it back, and here's the look at the multi-plug that we need to remove. So there's a clip on either side, you can just unplug it like that. And there's the end that needs to go in the car. So what we need to do is modify this multi-plug carrier to take this on the new seat. So here we have the two connector blocks for the Mk7, the old seat with the 6 sockets, and the new seat which has got 8 sockets, as we can see. Now the pins are slightly differently coloured. Now the green one, we know we can match the green to green because that is the occupancy sensor on the car. The yellow and the orange are the airbag lights. So we know we need to put this yellow cable to where this orange was in this multi-plug. And the purple one I think is for the seat belt. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this multi-plug away from these 3 sockets. We're going to take this multi-plug off here and we're going to replicate these colours into this block so that we can then plug the new seat into the old socket on the car. So let's do that now. So to release these connectors from the multi-plug, you'll see there's like a black securing tab, and you just lift that back with a screwdriver and it will pop out like so and come apart, he says, like so. So there is my connector block freed up, and I'll put up a picture next to this of the colours of the cables that were in it. So what we're going to do now is release the cables from the 8 connector block we've got here on the new seats and fit them into this black multi-plug. Here's the connector block. You need to make sure in alignment with the picture I've got this tab at the bottom, and these sockets slide in with this little, you can see a little tiny notch inside there. So if we look at it from this side, the green one will slide up and snap into place just like that. So that's where the green one goes. The yellow one is the equivalent of what the orange one was for the airbag, which goes in this socket here. Again with that little notch you can see pointing upwards. Fitting the yellow airbag connector into the older 6-pin multi-plug does not work, as these guidance fins on the side are in the wrong place. I had to cut them off the yellow connector with a Stanley knife, which allowed them to slot in fine and they still click into place solidly. So there I've got the 3 sockets I need back in this multi-plug. So the brown, the black and the blue I've traced back to one unit on the seat, which is obviously the heating element. So hopefully we can put this in the car and the connection should now just work. So let's get it in the car. Now one thing I could have done while I was changing these plugs around is the socket on the car. I could have popped the back off that and relocated that one troublesome socket on here and moved this around to match, but obviously we've done that now, so it doesn't matter too much. So I need to hook this connection back over the bracket, which is just like so. Then we take this power socket and place it back in, click it into place like so. So the seat is now powered back up, and all we need to do now is secure this seat to the floor of the car. Wow, what a transformation for this car, and I'm sure you'll agree these seats look much better. And with a small piece of alteration to the multi-plugs, there's no airbag lights and no problems fitting these seats. So I highly recommend doing this upgrade to your car if you get the opportunity. Hopefully this video has helped you with your Fiesta, and if it has, then please do give this video a thumbs up, and also think about subscribing to my channel, where you'll find a whole host of content on the Fiesta as well as other cars, and particularly of course the Audi TT Mark 1, which is the channel car. As always, thanks for watching, see you soon, take care.